How do you pass your real estate exam? Well, studying and practicing lots of national questions, state questions, and your vocabulary. Let's get with national questions continued from the prior series, number 20. So this is series part number 21, continuing with vocabulary. And at the second half of the class, we will do some Texas state questions. So national applies to everybody throughout the United States. All righto, get ready. This is the book that we're doing, Real Estate Sales Exam. And it takes a lot because we're doing 4 exams on 80 questions on each. And it's an excellent exam, although it's an old one. However, it has awesome questions for the state and the national. So the national exams 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're on exam number 4, and then we will start another book. And it also has glossary, math review. So glossary is vocabulary, right? And that's primary. In order to be able to answer a lot of the questions, you need the vocabulary. And it tells you how to prepare for the exam, a little prep system, and a little bit about real estate. So with that said, let's get going. So we're continuing today with question number 26. So remember to participate, type the question number and the answer letter after I read the questions. And I'll help you. For some reason you get it wrong, I'll explain why, and I'll explain why some of the other answers do not apply. All right. Deed restrictions are the creation of a what? A, potential buyers. B, city planning commission. C, zoning board of adjustment. Or D, previous property owner. Deed restrictions are the creation of whom? Type your answer in the chat. And we'll be back for the answer. Give you a few moments to type the answer. Hi, Lisbeth. And yes, the answer is 26D, previous property owner, right? Because a property owner that buys a piece of land, subdivides it, and they want tighter restrictions as to what type of home they want to be built on there, what square footage, whether brick or hardy plank or stucco or wood. So those are tighter restrictions than the city zoning. Very good, 26D. Number 27. Ooh, I've got to really minimize this one. Wow. A long question. All right, number 27. Martin listed a large tract. Oh, I forgot to show the answer. Martin listed a large tract of land near an interstate highway and advertised the property as good for investment. He pointed out to the prospects that several businesses and a manufacturing plant were planning to relocate to the area and promised that the land value would more than double in the next year or two. Is Martin doing the right thing? We don't know what's going to happen in the future, right? We don't have a crystal ball. So is Martin doing the right thing? A, yes, he is offering a valid investment opportunity. B, no, it is illegal to make a guarantee of future profits from the resale of a property. C, yes, he is marketing the property as required by his fiduciary duties to the seller. Or D, no, he should advise the seller to wait and sell the property later. So Martin listed. So Martin is the listing realtor. So can we make guarantees? Okay. about properties profiting in the future. Okay, so far I've got 27B. Hi, Rachel. Thanks for joining the class. And yes, that is correct. Martin should point out the B, okay? No, it is illegal to make guarantee of future profits from the resale of the property. Martin should point out the facts, okay? Just facts concerning the development and what's coming in the future that may happen in the future, and let the seller and prospective buyers make their own decisions as to whether to sell or buy. I wish I had a crystal ball like that could tell me, yay, man, I'm going to profit a lot, right? We make our money when we buy as an investor. And you're going to say, well, how is that when you buy? Well, you buy it at a discount, you buy it at a good price and improve it and sell it later, either 6 months, a year, or several years later. And if you sell it owner financing, make some money from the interest. All righto, number 28. Which of the following is true concerning federal laws requiring disclosures of any known presence of lead paint or lead paint hazards? A, so lead paint, presence of lead-based paint or lead paint hazard. A, the Lead-Based Paint Hazard Reduction Act of 1992 requires property owners to make the disclosure on any residential dwelling built before 1978. B, real estate brokers also have the liability for making lead-based paint disclosures and must keep disclosure records for 3 years. C, owners of properties built before 1978 have the sole responsibility and liability for making disclosures regarding the Lead-Based Paint Hazard Reduction Act of 1992. D, A and B. So there's more than one right answer, right? And it's a federal law. It's not a TREC document, okay? That addendum. And yes, the answer is D. Both A and B. Lead-Based Paint Hazard Reduction Act of 1992 requires property owners to make the disclosure on any dwelling before 1978, and real estate brokers also have liability for making lead-based paint disclosures. If the owners don't remember or they don't know, then it's our responsibility as a realtor or broker to explain that and inform the seller that it's required. There are certain exceptions, right? When it is sold by a bank or a foreclosure, at the tax sale, they're not required to do that, okay? There's anybody buying it or investors, and they're taking it as the risk, as is. Number 29. Okay, no questions, no questions. All right. Correction lines used in the rectangular survey method are necessary because A, surveyors make mistakes, B, of magnetic effects of surveyors on surveyors' compasses, C, of the curvature of the earth, or D, of the erosion of the earth. Type your answer in the chat. $29D. The answer is not D. So take another attempt. So corrections lines used in the rectangular method. The answer here is C, of the curvature of the earth. The rectangular survey methods are necessary because of the curvature of the earth. So the rectangular survey method, the government rectangular survey, has 36 sections. It has a township, and it doesn't have a lot and block like we use in city limits. Rectangular survey is typically used for more acreage, okay, out in the country. Gosh, what is happening to my Facebook page? Something is going on here. Wow. Something is going on with Facebook. It's like taking forever. Sometimes it's operator error, but this is not the case. Okay, so the answer was 29C. And I need Facebook because I end up putting the answers in there also. All right, number 30. If an agent accidentally leaves his for sale sign in front of a house after closing, the public is being led to believe that he is the new owner's agent under the legal concept of A, ratification, B, implied agency, C, agency by estoppel, or D, ostensible agency. So when an agent accidentally leaves their for sale sign in front of a house after closing, the public is being misled, right, to believe that he is the new owner's agent under the legal concept of type your answer in the chatty chat. So far, I've got B. The answer is not B. And please type the question number and the letter answer when typing your answers. All right, the answer here is ostensible agency. So the answer says, aside from the fact that many states make it illegal to advertise, any advertisement of a property would lead an unknowing party to believe that the advertiser had a business relationship with the person for whom he was advertising. Doing so can create the wrong impression in the mind of a third party. So ostensible agency. All righto, number 31. When a buyer is seeking to buy a single-family residence, inspections should be done when prior to entering into a purchase contract. B, no need to have inspections done if they have received a seller's disclosure statement. C, immediately after entering into a binding sales contract. Or D, only after financing has been secured and the title report has been received. Ooh, okay. When is it important to do a due diligence? When purchasing a property, looking to purchase a property. Okay, so far I have C. I ask that you all participate so that we can see how you are doing and I can help correct any wrong selected answers. Hi, Lil. So Lily Liliana. The answer here is actually C. Immediately after entering into a binding sales contract. So remember, the buyer does their due diligence, their inspections during the option period, right? And that's after both parties have agreed on the terms for the contract for the sale and the purchase. And during the certain days that the buyer requested to do the inspections, they have, could be 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 10 days. And that's when they run their inspections. The fact that a seller delivers a seller's disclosure statement, that's their knowledge about the property that they can see. However, there may be some hidden defects, okay, that the eye cannot see. Therefore, the inspections happen after a binding sales contract. After in fact, it can be ordered prior to when all the market was such a seller's market and there were some people having tons and tons of offers. I started scheduling them in advance so that as soon as the offer was accepted, the inspector went out there to do the inspection and we could ask for a much shorter option period in order to be in a better position to be accepted. And during that option period, the buyer finds out, things about that property that a professional licensed inspector, an inspector licensed by the Real Estate Commission, lets them know. That's what they do for a living, and they know better than we do. And a lot of times more than the sellers. Because sometimes the sellers may not disclose certain things. So that's where it surfaces up in the inspection. All right, number 32. In the reconciliation of an appraisal on a home in a large subdivision, the appraiser's decision of value would rely most on which appraisal approach. Okay, so the appraiser goes in and he appraises it in this particular subdivision. So there's a lot of homes that maybe have sold, that are pending, that are currently active. So the appraiser's decision of value relies on what type of an appraisal approach when they're reconciling, okay? After they do all their examination, all their photos, all they're looking at the properties, researching all the details, they go and they may edit it, okay, to create a final report. So is it A, cost, B, market data, C, income, or D, reproduction? So far, I have 32B. Anybody else? $32BBB so far. And yes, that is the correct answer. Market data approach, right? Because we have a lot of comparables in that subdivision. It says a large subdivision. Okay, so the appraiser's decision of value would rely mostly on the market data approach, CMA, right? We call it a comparative market approach, okay, because that's for the buyer. And for the buyer side, we want to know what has sold. If they were doing it for the seller, they want to know what's active, what has sold, and what is pending. So the answer here is 32B. Very good. Moving right along. Oh, another long one. Okay, remember that some of these questions, you can click them for review and come back to them later if you're not one that likes to read like I didn't used to, or it takes me too long. I go and do all the easy ones first and then come back to the other ones. And a reminder is when you go to the test, day in the room, and you start each of the exams, recommending that you skip the first 5 questions, click them for review and the math, and then come back to them later. Research has been made that the first 5 questions have a tendency to be the toughest questions and can get students to get nervous, anxious, and screw up and lose focus. So you can skip them, click them for review, and come back to them later. Number 33. Andy, a licensed salesperson, has agreed to handle the property management for Freddie, an investor in rental housing. They have opened a trust account at a bank in both their names, and Andy will collect rent and pay mortgage payments and other expenses. Is this the correct way to structure this property management account? Okay, so Andy is a licensed salesperson, has agreed to handle the property management for Freddie, an investor in rental housing. And they opened a trust account in both their names. Okay, it says Andy will collect rent and pay mortgage payments and other expenses. Is this the correct way to structure, this property management account? A, yes, a trust account is correct. B, no, they should create a partnership and open the account in the name of the partnership. C, no, the account should be in the name of Andy's broker and Freddie. Or D, no, this is a special agency representation and the account must be in Freddie's name only. Okay, so remember, who says, where can I get this questions and answers? Oh, Corey, you're in the Facebook group, right? And so in the Facebook group, you can go to the tab that says guides, and under guide number, guide number 2, I believe there's the Texas Real Estate Sales Exam. You can download that book. This is this book here, and others have filled out a form that I text you, and then you can complete that form and get it right away. But you can download it. Since you're on Facebook group, it is available within the Facebook group under the guides. Okay, and I think it is, let me double check and see what number the guide is. Bear with me here. Oh, good evening, Rosaura. How are you? Okay, so guide number 1, it's not guide, it's guide number 3, Texas Real Estate License Sales Guide and Exam. So you can download that. You'll have to click it a couple times, because when you click it the first time, then it goes to the post, and then you got to click the PDF file in order to download it. All right, so number 33. So can a salesperson do property management? That's the first answer you asked. No, they cannot. The broker can do property management. So the answer here is no. The account should be in the name of Andy's broker and Freddie. So the broker who can do property management, they have a trust account. And it's a trust account, for each client, or they have a general trust account for all their clients, which only deposits, rents, and those types of monies go into there. All right, so number 33 is C. So let me see here. I am very well been busy at my job. Oh, good. Yes, we all get sometimes really busy with work, especially when you work full time. Okay, 33 was C. So remember, the questions mentioned Andy, licensed salesperson. Licensed salespersons cannot do property management. Now, if they're an employee, of the property management company, that's different because they're an employee. But here, it's a licensed salesperson. that has agreed to handle property management. Well, only brokers can handle property management. Therefore, it is for Andy's broker and Freddie, the client, to have a trust account. Got it? Got it, got it. All right, so the answer is 33C. Shoot. All right, number 34. A seller lists his property well above market value. What should a buyer's agent tell the buyer about the asking price and also fulfill his fiduciary duties? So seller lists property above market value. And then what should a buyer's agent tell the buyer about the asking price and also fulfill his duties? Fiduciary duties. A, to make an offer at whatever price he believes is fair. B, prepare a CMA for the buyers and point out that the property is priced well above market value. C, to offer full price if he really wants the property. Or D, ignore the asking price but encourage him to make a very low ball offer. We have to show proof. We have to show facts. We don't go by opinion or what we think is fair. What we think has to be supported by data, by public data, market value, not our opinion. The appraiser, when they do an appraisal, it is an opinion, but it's a researched opinion with market data information on comparables, right? So the answer here is 34B. Very good. Is your guys' Facebook or internet really slow? Because mine sure is. So let's see here. Number 35. Regarding real property, which of the following statements is true? A, emblements are considered as fixtures since they are attached to the land. B, trade fixtures attached to the buildings are always the landlord's property. C, air rights can be granted separately by deed. Or D, mineral rights always run with the land. Think about common sense here. Type your answer in the chat. Don't be shy. These are national questions for anybody who just came in. So nobody answered my question as to whether your internet is slow. Okay, so far I have 35D. No, it is not D. Mineral rights are like oil or other things in the ground, okay, that are part of the land, however, can bring an extra source of income, money, okay, because not all land will have mineral rights, you know, oil and gas and others. So it is not D. So regarding real property, which of the following statements is true? Oh, your internet is good, huh? Well, that's great. The answer here is air rights can be granted separately, okay? Even though they're considered part of the real property, because land has the air above it, the surface, and below the surface. All that belongs to that land. However, whatever is in the earth has a separate value. The development, the improvement goes on the surface. Okay, if there's airspace, that can be sold separately. Like, let's say, hey, they're a high-rise hotel and they don't want airplanes going over it, or they give airplanes or others the right to pass through. And, you know, in certain countries, you can't go to a certain area in the ocean and the sea, right? Because you're trespassing. They have rights over that. So implements, okay, this was this crop. They are not fixtures and they're not attached to the land. They're basically on the surface. They're crops that are harvested every year. Those belong to the farmer. Trade fixtures, right, belong to the professional. Okay, a doctor, a dentist, a salon, you know, they have their own equipment that they bring into that rental. Air rights, they're up in this space. Okay, they're not on the surface of the land. Mineral rights are under the land, and they sometimes run with the land if the seller agrees to convey them. But if the seller says, no, man, I'm producing oil, I'm going to keep that, that's mine, they can. The buyer would have to agree if they want the land. Okay, so 35 is C. So minerals and air rights can be conveyed separately. Okay, your internet is good. Or maybe it's because I have so many things open. I always have lots of websites open, and it slows it down when I'm streaming. Okay, we're only going to do 10 questions today for national. I'm going to keep it a little bit shorter today. So we are going to go into Texas state questions. So any questions on these 10 national questions that we just went over? So for these, you know, you want to learn things, you know, what are emblements? What are trade fixtures? What are air rights, mineral rights? Those are all vocabularies. This is why I stress vocabulary so much. Okay. And although I notice that the majority of those who go to the YouTube channel, they study questions. Not as many study the vocabulary, because I can see by the number of views and the times that it's watched. Questions are good, yes. So you can learn the answers through the questions, but if you don't know what the meaning of the word is, you're not gonna understand what they're asking for and why it's true, right? Okay, all right. So that's it for national questions for today. We're moving along to state questions. So you can take a moment break. We've done 34 minutes. Or we can just mosey on, move right along. So this is the book that I just bought a couple weeks ago. Okay, it's a new book. So once we finish the other one on national, I'll be moving on to this one to start national questions. But for now, we are doing state questions. And we are starting with question number 31. So this book also has, okay, 4 practice tests. Okay, let me minimize this a little bit. I chose this book, you know, when I research them on Amazon or wherever I find them, I research for books that have lots of questions and they explain the answers and also include vocabulary. See, the secret to getting ahead is getting started, right? So do it. So it's got, you know, similar to the other ones, how to prepare, how to apply for exam, practice tests. They have national and state. There's 4 practice tests and other resources. You see how they have the answer key, finding a broker, interviewing. Oh, I thought this one had vocabulary, so I guess not. Let me see here. Requirements, how to... No, this one doesn't have vocabulary, but there's a lot of free vocabulary online. All right, so today we're starting with test number 1, question number, let's see here. Question number 31 on page 35. Okay. You've got your Texas thinking cap on. Oops. Oh man, that's not going to work. That's going to look kind of small. Okay. All right. There we go. Question 31 for Texas state questions. The state of Texas does not have a blank, which states a home cannot be redeemed once it has been foreclosed. A, statutory right of redemption. B, power of sale clause. C, forbearance. Or D, loan modification. So the state of Texas does not have a blank, which states a home cannot be redeemed once it has been foreclosed. Type your answer in the chat. So that is knowing the Texas law. (31A), looking good. 31A. And you are, anybody else? It is not C. Forbearance is what's been happening right now, was happening during COVID, which means the lender puts the payment at the end of the loan because they couldn't make it and the government was not allowing foreclosures. So that's a forbearance. However, the balance of their loan is getting greater and greater. So some of those individuals aren't going to be able to make their monthly payments because now their payment's going to be larger. So it is statutory right of redemption. So once a home is foreclosed, they cannot redeem it. Now, if it is foreclosed because of property taxes, they have up to 2 years. Okay, she guessed right. Well, that's good, Rachel says, or yes. So yes, the statutory right of redemption. So they give you a little bit of clue, right? Redeem. So in the state of Texas, you cannot redeem. In fact, I think in most states, you cannot redeem a property once it has been foreclosed, nor rebuy it, or not even have a family member buy it. It has to be at arm's length, means, you know, no relationship, no favors of anybody it's doing for you in order to get the property back. They lost it because they couldn't make payments. So during COVID, people weren't able to make payments. So the government was protecting tenants and also owners of homes for not foreclosing. So the lenders did a forbearance, meaning they would take the payment that they couldn't completely make and add it at the end of the loan. And once the government removed that law, then they have to start making payments, and many are going to potentially lose their homes and have to do a short sale, or it may be foreclosed on, or they try to do a modification. But even with a modification, sometimes they can't afford them. All right, number 32. All right. Okay, so did I type the answer for 31A? Yes. Okay, which cannot be deducted from a property owner's personal home for tax purposes? So in other words, you buy a property, personal property, and there's certain things that can be deducted, written off, right? When it comes to income tax time. But which one cannot be deducted? So A, interest paid, B, property taxes paid, C, depreciation, or D, itemized expenditures. So this is our personal home, not an investment. Type your answer in the chat. Oop, I just had somebody in the background. What are you doing, Cootie? Come on, go outside. Okay, depreciation is not allowed on a personal property. Should you work out of your home, you can deduct certain expenditures, right, for a home office. Property taxes, okay, are a write-off, and any interest paid on the loan. So the answer here is C. Depreciation comes with investment properties. Very good. Let's see, we had 32D, 32A, 32C. So we were kind of all over the place. So which ones cannot be deducted? We can deduct the interest paid, okay, when we have a loan, the property taxes, and itemized expenses for depending on what we're using the home. It's typically for using as a home office. Okay, we're on number 33. Oop, that didn't work. Let's see if I go larger. No, all right, so I'm gonna have to go kind of small here. Wow. This is a difficult one. There we go. All right, number 33. So did you all understand that one? Okay. You cannot deduct depreciation. I see that there were still itemized deductions. Several of you chose itemized deductions. Yeah, that one you cannot be allowed, especially now with COVID working out of our home. All right, number 33. Blank states that when the words grant or convey are used in a deed, the seller promises the property is free from encumbrances. So blank states that when the words grant or convey are used in a deed, the seller promises the property is free from encumbrances. That's okay, Rachel, I understand. Okay, A, Texas Real Estate Commission. B, Texas Property Code. Oh, let me, sorry about that. C, Texas Real Estate Licensing Act, or D, the General Warranty Deed. So what states that when the words grant or convey are used in a deed, the seller promises the property is free from encumbrances? Right, because the seller signs the warranty deed, and when the title company does the research on the title's history and says that it is clear, okay, what document states that they can grant or convey it? Means that it is free or clear. It is a no, it's not D, because it already says, it said some document states that when the words grant or convey are used in the deed, okay, the deed is the general warranty deed, so we can't use the deed there. The seller promises a property is free from encumbrances. Okay, it's the Texas Property Code. Yeah, I know it seems like the answer would be D, but the general warranty deed is what is used, right, to grant or convey. But they're saying what document states, okay, that when the seller signs the general warranty deed, granting or conveying it, it means that it is free from encumbrances. What document states that? That document is the Texas Property Code. So the code also states that a grantor, that's the seller, the owner, has not transferred any part of the property to anyone else if the words grant or convey are used in the deed. So those words are in the general warranty deed, but there's something that allows them to put those words in there when the property is free and clear of any encumbrances. So they have all the Bill of Rights. That is the Texas Property Code. Okay. Oh boy. What happened to my, I'm lost on Facebook here. Okay, 33B. Got it? Everyone got that one wrong. Everybody said general warranty deed. Why? Because it said used in a deed. But it says what? Some document, something states that when the words grant or convey are used in the deed, the seller promises the property is free and clear, free from encumbrances. It is the Texas Property Code that states that. Okay. Yeah, that one's a little tricky, a little confusing, right? Because the quick answer, just like all of you answered, hey, general warranty deed, right? That's what the general warranty deed says. Yes, but what allows and says those words can be in the general warranty deed? All right, number 34. Which type of deed is used in transferring property in the state of Texas? A, general warranty deed. B, special warranty deed. C, quitclaim deed. Or D, all of the above. So what type of deed is used to transfer property from one person to another, from an owner to the buyer in the state of Texas? So we know it's a deed, right? No, it is not C and it is not A. I mean, yes, they are correct. Actually, they are all correct. Okay. The type of deed that transfers property in the state of Texas is there's a general warranty deed, okay, which protects when they do the search on it, the owner is warranting that throughout the history of the property, he knew he was the only owner. So it's a broad warranty. The special warranty deed means the owner only warranties while they owned it, only through those years, not somebody prior to them. The quitclaim deed, there's no warranty, but yet it can transfer property from an owner to a buyer, okay, or to a family member. Yes. Yes. So all of you are correct, but all three answers are correct. Okay. So the answer was 34D. Yeah, quitclaim deed, they'll transfer property, from a family or other. They're just deeding it. They can do it quickly that way if there are no encumbrances, hopefully, right? And the new owner isn't going to have any debt. So investors sometimes buy them that way, but they do the research to make sure that there aren't any liens attached to the property. Special warranty deed is it's warranting just for the ownership during that one particular owner. General warranty deed goes through the whole history, okay, of ownership on that property. Got it? Got it? All right. Very good, ladies. So I don't have any guys in here tonight. No guys in here, all ladies. It's a girls' night out. Mm-hmm. Okay, 35. Blank are regulations that govern the design, maintenance, construction, and alterations of structures. Oops, let me clear that off the screen. There we go. So something are regulations that govern the design, maintenance, construction, and alterations of structures. A, building codes. B, homeowners association. C, appraisal. Or D, option period. Hey, you all are on the ball on this one, huh? Yes, building code. Very good. Hey, and thanks for being here with me tonight. And I want all of you to pass. There's been more and more students passing lately. So it'll be your time soon, right? And those of you that are on YouTube, hey, go ahead and click that thumbs up. Anybody that hasn't been to my YouTube channel, YouTube Agent Prep, hey, go in there and subscribe to my channel. My goal is to get to 1,000 by the end of this month, and I still need like 240 more subscribers. So please help me out. Tell all the students that you know that are working on passing their exams, and give me that support and love to reach 1,000 subscribers. It's so exciting. All right, number 30. Okay, did I show you the answer? 35A. Okay, 36. Okay, a 1 to 4 family residential contract is not used for the resale of which type of property? A, condominium. B, triplex. C, single family home. Or D, fourplex. So remember, there's different contracts for different types of properties. And the 1 to 4 family residential contract, I have a tendency to say it wrong. 1 to 4 residential family. 1 to 4 family residential contract is not used for which one of the following? Come on, there's more of you on here. Type your answer in the chatty chat. Take a risk, right? Life's a risk. From the day you were born, life is a risk. And it'll be a risk until the day we move on to heaven. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yes, the answer is 36A, condominium. There's a separate contract for condominiums, a separate one for unimproved land, separate one for farm and ranch, for new construction, and for commercial. There's quite a few different types of contracts. All right, number 37. There we go. Blank are a form of private controls on land use. Blank or a form of private controls on land use. A, security deposits. B, restricted covenants. C, intermediaries. D, tenancy in common. Good, good, good. Doing good, doing good. And yes, it is. You all are correct. It is restrictive covenants. We used to call them CCRs. Conditions, covenants, and restrictions. Now they just call them restrictive covenants. I liked it when we could use the acronym CCR, but sometimes we didn't know what it meant. Okay, and remember, restricted covenants from a subdivision or from a piece of land after it's been approved by the zoning department, they are tighter. They are tighter and take precedence, okay, over those from the zoning department, because the zoning covers certain things, okay? But a subdivision has stricter covenants, okay, if they want to build certain types of homes. They don't want manufactured homes. They don't want two-story buildings. They don't want anybody's view to be covered, okay? So though they don't want fences, or they do want fences. They want sidewalks. They want garages, a lot of different restrictions. Those are tighter than the ones that are approved. If somebody goes to the planning department and says, hey, I need an approval to build this, city says, okay, yeah, it meets all of our requirements. But they go to the subdivision and buy a piece of land and they start building, and the homeowners association said, oh no, you're not supposed to build that way. Here are our restrictive covenants. Well, most subdivisions, whenever somebody is selling or buying, especially condominiums, there are the home association covenants, restrictions that are provided, the bylaws, and they have to do a certificate of resale for condominiums, and they may have to be approved in that particular subdivision. Oh my gosh, 38D. Which statement is true about eviction? A landlord must legally terminate the tenancy prior to the evicting a tenant. B, a landlord needs to file an eviction lawsuit if the tenant does not move out after receiving a written notice. C, a tenant can decide to fight an eviction. Or D, all of the above. Your ladies are on a roll. So yes, 38. Well, I'm going to give you a little bit more time. Well, I already pretty much said, if you're on a roll, that means you all have the right answer, right? So yes, D, all of the above. So every state has their landlord and tenant laws. All right, number 39. Which is an example of latent defects? Okay, latent defects. A, worn carpet. B, chipped paint. C, foundation instabilities. Or D, cracked window. Latent defects. What is a latent defect? Definitions, right? Vocabulary. Okay, so far I have 39. C, oui, monsieur. Anybody else? And yes, the answer is C, foundation instabilities, right? That'll require a surveyor, okay, an engineer, surveying engineer, a foundation engineer to come and inspect that and provide a report. And I had a property that had foundation instabilities, and it was going to cost $8,000 to $10,000 to level that out. And you're thinking, well, how can they level a house that's on a concrete foundation? Well, what they do underneath the brick, the concrete, right, is soil. So they dig underneath and then they jack it up and put bricks or something, pillars or more soil, whatever, to level it out. So it is doable, but it does cost a lot of money. Okay, number 40. Doing great, ladies. What is the statute of limitation for the Texas Deceptive Trade Practices Act? A, what is the statute of limitation for the Texas Deceptive Trade Practices Act? A, 5 years. B, 1 year. C, 2 years. Or D, 10 years. And I mentioned it in the last session that a lot of times these answers that have a number of years are a positive number, not a negative one. Is that intentional? They want to keep things positive. So it is not A. I've got A, C, C, C. So take another attempt, please, Lisbeth. The answer is C, 2 years. Okay, so kind of keep that in mind, that a lot of the answers that give you how many years you have to keep your documents, how many years before you can go as a broker, 4 years, 4 years. You're usually 2, 4, 6, years. So it's a positive number for the most part that I've seen in reviewing questions over and over and over. Okay, so that's the end of that Texas state exam. So we'll be on test number 2 on Saturday, and we'll continue on with the national on the other book. Okay, so then we will start these. See how it has the answers? Okay, so love those books that have the answer. And again, you could look for older books that are free online that you can download, and try to save your money so that you can pay your startup fees and anything that you're going to have to pay for when you get started. Okay, so every organization that you're going to join is going to have like an application fee. Okay, maybe some small ones may not, but they will have an application fee. You'll have to pay application fees for the local MLS, for the state, and for the national associations. So it's a lot of money. So Rachel takes her exam on the 18th. All right, Rachel. Oh, yeah, she takes it on the 18th. So everybody wish her luck, okay? And that she passes, or wish her the best, okay? It's not just luck, okay? It requires a lot of studying and practicing. And if you have buddies that you can study with, that helps too. And, everybody studies at a different pace. So just remember to learn the vocabulary and practice and practice and practice lots and lots of questions, okay? And don't just take them to where you get a 70 when you're doing them at home. You're going to need to practice until you get 100. Okay, that's what I did. I took the exam in 3 different states, okay? And I would do questions over and over and over after learning vocabulary. And when I was taking the courses, okay, every chapter had a quiz at the end. And if I got an 80, I would redo it until I had 100, okay, on each of the quizzes. And then at the end of each chapter or each book, I would make sure I redid it. And sometimes those had 100 questions, okay? So it takes a lot of dedication, a lot of time. However, the more you practice those questions, the more you read the answers, the more you start to understand how the questions are asked and what they're really looking for, and little keywords to pay attention to that'll trigger you to answer it correctly or could trigger you to answer it wrong. So there we go. It says, wish you the best. Okay, that is Cindy Solis. She's watching on Facebook. And so, hey, Cindy, next time you join us, go to StreamYard, or you can do it today, StreamYard.com, okay, /Facebook. And it only takes a moment, okay? Go to that to that website. Hold on, it's taking a little bit of a delay here. You're very welcome, Rachel. Go to this website, StreamYard.com /Facebook, and give StreamYard permission to post your name on StreamYard, like we see here. or on YouTube instead of just showing Facebook, because this is how Cindy, you show up. Okay, it just says Facebook. And so here's how Rachel shows up, Rosaura. And then, oh, there are two Cindys today, Cindy Cook and Cindy Salazar. Oh, Cindy Solis Garza. And so this is how you show up. And then let's see who else was here. Rosaura, you see, Lisbeth. So we all had to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and give Stream permission to post your name, okay, from Facebook on here. Facebook is very protective. And since you're watching from Facebook, they want to make sure that you gave StreamYard permission. Okay, any questions before we call it a night? I'm watching to see those of you on YouTube, Facebook, the Facebook business page. I'm looking everywhere and in here to see if there's any questions before we call it a night. And you know, the next class, of course, will be on Saturday at 10 o'clock, right? We do this twice a week, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and Saturdays at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. And these are all recorded, so you can come back and see the replay. Okay, so anybody who is not watching or is watching the replay, I also have the playlist on YouTube. Okay, it's much easier to go to YouTube and see the answers. I'm sorry, see the videos. I have several playlists. One that just talks about vocabulary, other playlist that is for national and state Q&A. Another one has all the different videos that I've done for 2022 that it deals with national, state, or vocabulary. And then there are some others where I used to just do Texas or just do national. And there are a lot of different YouTube channels that do national, but not enough that do state. So I'll also be sometimes focusing on just state questions. Since I have individuals finding the channel from other states, okay, that's why I do both national and state. And hopefully I'll soon end up buying some other books to help students from other states. All right, if no questions, remember, I am a realtor. So when you start looking for a broker, start looking for a sponsor, you start interviewing, I'm here. Let's talk about my brokerage, eXp Realty, and see if our benefits, okay, our collaboration, what we offer, all our multiple streams of income is something that will work for you. We're a virtual company. We're a cloud-based company. We don't have a brick and mortar office that you can walk into. But nowadays, lots of people work out of their home. So take time to interview different brokers, okay, including eXp, and see which one is a good match for me. So you can set an appointment with me through Calendly. It's on the website and also on the Facebook group. And if you need it, you can let me know, message me. I reply to all of my text messages, some promptly, others take a little bit of time depending on which media. People are asking me questions because I'm on Instagram, on YouTube, I'm on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Pinterest, TikTok, you name it, I'm there. Okay, but my favorite source of media, okay, is YouTube because it is educational. Okay, and I hope that when you get into real estate that you start creating videos. Start practicing now, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, okay, like you do on TikTok and Instagram. Everybody has now reels up to a minute. Practice that, because today video is big and it's going to get bigger. Okay, you all, thanks for attending. Have a good night. Until next time, catch you later.